I finish by 2:30. We'll see how it goes. I'll try and be timekeeper. You know, Owen accepted this invitation. I was surprised he did so. I'm pleased he did so. It's a rare opportunity. I think it was 20 years ago, probably the last time that he sat down with a group of fans and talked to them about what's going on at the club. We're not happy, you know that. We're a family, and what's happening hurts all of us. So this is an opportunity to dialogue with him directly. I know feelings are running high, and I just ask everybody to respect the occasion and let's get the most out of it. So. That's what we should be doing as a trust. That's what we should be doing as Blackpool fans. And without further ado, let's make a start, okay? Because I want to give maximum time to the Q&A. So it's been an interesting year for the trust. We were looking for a big event to kind of round out the season, like we had the gala dinner last year. It was going to be the Brett celebration game, but I think this might be rivaling it for interest. So let's go first of all to Christine Seddon, who's the Deputy Chair of the Trust on my right. And just for your information, if you don't know, this is Kevin Borodovich, who's the Secretary of the Trust. And we're going to go to item 2 on the agenda, which is an update on the Brett testimonial game. Okay?
Help if I turned it on, wouldn't it, really? I'm such an amateur. Okay, I think we all know by now that the Brett game has had to be moved to the 28th of August. Most unfortunate, but it is what it is. So at the Trust, we're very interested in making sure that it is a really good day, that it's a day of celebration. Brett is obviously one of the legends of our club. We also want to raise as much money as we possibly can for Gary Parkinson. So that's what the day is all about, and we want it to be a non-political day, just a happy day. So I hope to see as many people there as possible. The ticket sales are through AFC Filed, and I believe there's about 2,000 tickets left. So if you haven't got your tickets, please make sure that you do get them. There will be merchandise available on the day. Brett's team are going to be playing in this shirt, but with a special badge to actually mark the day. So if you want to get anything in advance, you can do. If you have a look on our website, or on the day we will be selling things. I believe there's also somebody else has organised merchandise as well to commemorate the day. So again, all of this will go towards raising funds for Gary, which is extremely important and a big part of the day. If anybody is willing to assist us on that day, because we will need help selling raffle tickets and programmes, if at the end of this meeting you wouldn't mind leaving your name and contact details with one of the committee who are sort of over there, that would be really, really helpful. And we're also asking if any of you have companies or are willing to donate auction prizes, raffle prizes. That would be very helpful as well. So I think as a community of Blackpool fans, we can all come together for this particular day, and let's make it a really, really roaring success. We all love Brett. He's an absolutely smashing lad, and let's give him a fantastic send-off. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much, Christine. Okay, before we go into the Q&A, we thought we'd try and set the scene a little, and we've got an item called Voice of the Fans. I think it's important that everybody hears how we've been hurting over the last few years, and I think a few people in the audience have volunteered just to stand up for a minute and give a quick testimonial as to how what's been happening at Blackpool has affected them, their families. So let's go into that, and I think Andy's got a roving mic.
Yes, I've got the roving mic. I think we've got Phil. First, you're going to say a few words. Hopefully, it'll pick up all the way over here. It's just to set it in context, really. How feel?
Okay, a bit of a surprise. This was in the saddle last night. Hi, my name's Phil. As Andy's just said, this year would have been the 20th year getting the season ticket. So from that, you can tell it's not the division or the money that affects me. It's something that I've done. As part of my life, it's a chance for me to go and enjoy, to meet my friends, to take my family, a lot of you. But now, Sally, that can't happen for the actions of your dynasty, what they've done to my friends, fellow fans. My family won't win again. My season ticket last year was used once when I gave it to a Wigan fan who couldn't get in. Don't tell Carl, he'd probably ban me. There's a bad feeling about uni family, and whatever assurances you give us today, to me they're pointless, because that dynasty is going to inherit it anyway sometimes. So I'm not going to give you my money anymore, and I'm not going to give you my emotions anymore. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. If I could hand you across to Ashley.
My name's Ashley Knowles, and I'm 40 years ex-Blackpool supporter, also a shareholder. I bought 5 shares for £5 a piece under Ken Chadwick. I set up and worked hard on the 1983 Save Blackpool Football Club. By then, football wasn't a vogue sport, and the ground was a wreck. The team did their best, and as fans we stuck together, and we kept the club. When Mr. Oyston came into the club, I had great hopes. I've supported him on many occasions on ground developments, 40,000 stadium seaters. I've had my crosses with Carl, but I actually made a truce in 2001. All I wanted was the stadium to be built. When we got into the Premiership in 2010, I thought all our ships had come home. I thought the Oyston family could take their money out, and yes, enjoy a dividend or two, but more importantly, I thought our football club's future was guaranteed, not only as a Premiership team, but actually to be a very competitive Championship team, what we all thought. 3 years down the line, I wasn't buying a season ticket, and a witness that my football club, in the 4th most lucrative league in the world, the Championship, starts the seasons with 8 players. As a consumer, as a customer, I think I've been insulted. When I see some of the things that fellow fans have been subjected to, I'm totally sickened. And me and my... I am going to finish now. Me and my two lads, who are 26 and 27, it's been football and watching Blackpool and funding Blackpool, buying the shirts every year. I still would like to do it, but unfortunately, I can only see it under new owners.
Thank you, Ashley. That was excellent as ever. Could we now have Ray?
My name's Ray. Right. I've been a Blackpool fan since 1960. And yeah, I'll have to shout. Right. Okay, so yeah, I've been a Blackpool fan since 1968. I have not been since...
Ray, come over here.
It is working, but
1-1.
go on the mic on the front. Should we get Afro Man on the mic?
Right, I've been a Blackpool fan since 1968. I did a full army career and arranged all my army career around getting to Blackpool games. When I left the army in 1994, I've been ever present at Bloomfield Road, but I've not been now since May 2015. The impact it's had on me is that it was always a family day out for me with my children and my father, but we now no longer go. The chap I'm sat next to is a friendship that I've established at Bloomfield Road. He's come from Wigan to be here today, so we can meet up. For me, cash cow, Morty statue, number plate, suing of fans, lack of progress on the training ground. I've been to AFC Fylde 10 times last season, and that's where I'm going to go until we get the club back.
Okay, this one. Hand it over to Mike.
This is for work. Yeah, I'm okay. John Goodman. I was born in this town, grew up in this town, educated in this town. I well recall attending Blackpool's games in the open cop as a schoolboy, waving my rattle, and enjoying the whole atmosphere of a genuine football club. I left Blackpool in the 1970s. I went to the States, but I still followed my hometown, watching the results in the local papers every weekend. I love this club so much that I painted a tram in Blackpool Football Club colours. You can see it on the promenade at the Pleasure Beach. It's a celebration of the club which will live on. We all feel the pain that the club is in at the moment. That's why we're all here. I just want to say to Owen, this is the town's club, this is the people's club, and we all need to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And if we move to our next speaker, can we have a round for Pauline O'Rourke, please? Everyone knows it.
Everyone, I'm Paul, the Blackpool Supporters Trust. I'm sure, Owen, that I just feel that the fans have been investment in the club, and more importantly, the suing of fans. And I would like Owen to say here and now that he will stop the suing of fans now and in the future. The club have no ambition, no respect for the fans. The community at large is suffering greatly. The shops, the pubs, are closing down, and they will close certainly next season because we'll have fewer fans going into Bloomfield Road, and we'll have fewer away supporters travelling too. And I think the only way that we'll get fans back into Bloomfield Road is if, Owen, you sell the club. All right.
Hey, please.
I was born and bred in Burnley, and I became a supporter when my husband signed for Blackpool, and he would turn in his grave if he knew what was going on.
Thank you. Thanks very much to everybody who spoke there. I know it wasn't easy for some of you, but we wanted to give a voice of the fans, and we've done that. You know that I had a meeting with Owen a while back, and I put to him, as I was mandated to, the concerns of BST and what we wanted to see change at the club. And I don't know whether he believed me or not, but I said, if you don't believe me, come and meet the fans and listen to what they have to say. And to his credit, he's done that. And I think that what we're going into now is a Q&A session. So a number of you have submitted questions. He's agreed to answer them. Please respect the process, okay? I'm going to invite him up here. I'm going to ask Tim Fielding, who's the Honorary Vice President of the Trust, to come and put the questions that you've raised to Owen, and Owen will respond, okay? Thanks ever so much.
Just that one. Oh, that one is as well, isn't it? Yeah, this one here. Testing, yeah.
1-1.
Thanks, everybody. Just before we start, emotions are running high. I'm on record as saying that I have a grudging respect for Owen for the fact he's up here today, because it's clear where emotions are and the way people are feeling. But equally, I think it's important that we listen. We listen to what he's got to say. We've collated all the questions that have been posed and submitted to the Secretary, and obviously cut out the duplication. But the questions I'm going to ask are not my questions, they're your questions, and we're going to be asking Owen to give substantive answers to each and every one of them. So, but do listen and have some respect for the process, as Steve said before. Just before I start, I would just like to have a quick show of hands for the benefit of Owen. I'd like everybody in the room who was a season ticket holder 3 years ago to put their hands up. Now I'd like those who were still season ticket holders last year to leave their hands up. And I'd like those who either have renewed or are thinking of renewing next year to leave their hands up. That's the legacy, and that's what we're here to sort out today. Before we start, Owen has asked if he could make a short statement, and I've agreed to that.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For inviting me here today. You told me it was going to be a very cozy meeting in a pub with a few fans. I've come into the Lion's Den, but I'm glad I've had the chance to hear your strong feelings. I've come here today to listen and to learn, to take away your thoughts, your feelings, any ideas you might have, so we can try and improve the relationship. I'm really saddened by the really strong feelings I've heard in some of the comments. And I just want to say that, and I do sincerely apologize for the dire football we've experienced over the last 2 years. It's been awful. I hate it. I hate being in League Two. Every morning I wake up, I think of ways how we can resolve the problems, how we can get back to where we were.
Just listen, please. Can we listen, please? That's what we're here for.
So, may I just say a few things about where we are with the club? Might be of interest to some of you. For the first time, for some time, we have a full complement of players, 21 players signed up. As you know, there are no emergency loans this year, so we have to be self-sufficient. More players, I'm told, are coming in. Also, as you will know, Carl agreed to stand down as the chief executive. And we have appointed Alex Cowdy as the new chief executive. We have a full complement of backroom staff selected by the manager. And even the grass is growing well this year, I have to tell you. It's only by misfortune or good fortune that I ever came to Blackpool, and some of you will say, well, probably terrible misfortune. I have to say this to you because although it will bore some of you, it's important you know why I have the same passion, the same love for the club that you have. And I'm going to ask you if you would have done what I did in a few moments. Let me just say what I'm going to say. My parents came from the Northeast when I was 2.5 years old.
Owen, we've got a load of questions to ask you, which will give us a bit more focus. It might be easier to do it that way.
Yeah.
It might be easier to do it that way, I suggest.
I came here with the intention of answering your questions and that you would listen to me to give me a chance to explain why I feel angry as well, why I feel distressed by what's happened. Well,
Owen, if we give this some focus, there's a whole series of questions that the people out here have submitted that they want specific answers to. We've heard a lot of what you're saying at the moment in your Radio Lancs interview, and I think it's important that we've got an hour, and I think there's plenty of questions here, and within those questions there'll be a great opportunity for you to develop on all the things you want to say, and we're going to give you a chance to answer those questions fully, but I really think we should focus on those. The first question that's been asked by the people out there is, and Ashley touched on this in his statement, is that the Premiership gave us a real opportunity to change the club. And most of us here will remember Ian Holloway quipping that the only thing that changed was that we had sprinklers. Sitting here today in 2016, where is the legacy from the Premiership as far as you're concerned? So the question is, where do you see the legacy for Blackpool Football Club based on the Premiership promotion?
many people here today joined the ranks of the Blackpool Football Club, younger people, when we were in the Premier League or the Championship League. They have no idea about the journey that it took to get here, the vast resources required to get here. And I have to say this because, you know, I'm not prepared to sit back and listen to some of the nonsense that's been spoken in the press without having a chance to set the record straight. Now, the facts are...
Be quiet, please.
The facts are, we came... I'm going to explain the legacy if you'll listen to me. If you keep interrupting, I can't explain it. So at least I have the courtesy to come here to answer your questions, face the lion's den. I'm here. Give me a chance to express my view of the legacy. And I have to do it my way. Many of you here will know what the legacy was in 1987. Just a moment. You've got to hear this. You've got to hear this. I know you don't like it. No, just a moment. You can't deal with one aspect of the legacy without knowing the history of the legacy, the history of it. So, is there any point in continuing?
To be fair, Owen, the question is, and we're not talking about, we all appreciate where we came from. Most of us, not obviously some of the younger ones may not be, but most of those of a certain age in this room were here in the 80s. We know where we were. We all supported the club during that period. The question is, what is the legacy from the Premiership promotion? Where is Blackpool's legacy?
Then I have to tell you, the legacy started before we got to the Premier League. It's a long legacy. This is my 30th year in this football club. 30 years. I've given my life to it. I worked for it for no salary. I worked for it without dividends for 25 years. For 25 years, I poured money into it, personally and through my companies, to save the club from destruction, demolition, and bankruptcy. We got it to the Premier League because I saved it, because I poured money into it. That's why we got there. Well, I'll deal with Mr.
Just can we not have?
I will deal with Mr. Bellicon.
Well, we've got a question about Mr. Bellicon. Essentially, Owen, we've got a. The question hasn't been answered. The reality is, we have a training. We look down the road and we see Poolfoot being built by Fleetwood, which is an £8 million facility, which isn't just about Fleetwood and the players, but it's about it being a community hub. We've had repeated promises about there being a training ground that would provide the legacy. Carl's made those promises. You've spoken about them, and yet, as you said to Sally Naden in March, we have a training ground that was fit for Stanley Matthews, and it's probably not in as good a condition as when Stanley Matthews was here. What we're asking is, and I think the short answer is there isn't.
No,
the
short answer, there is a legacy. I'll tell you if you want. I would have got to the point if you'd allowed me to. The legacy is, let me just finish before you start to disrupt. In 1987, the net asset value of this club was minus. Today, the net asset value, and this is the legacy. Let me finish. The net asset value.
Please, can you be quiet?
Can we listen? It's important. The questions are all here, and they're all going to be tabled. But people cutting across isn't getting us anywhere.
The net asset value today for Blackpool Football Club, and the net asset value is the net value of it after all the costs, is £38.7 million at cost.
Right, can we move on to the next question then, please?
Listen, Chris, you need to stop doing that. Listen, so we have an asset value, and next year, looking around this room, there's going to be no fans supporting this team with this fantastic asset value. What you sowing is a cash-rich football club with no fans.
Well, huge sums of money have gone into creating this football club as it is today. This football club today is a modern football club, fit for purpose. It's got this massive net asset value. It's an amazing place, I think. I'm proud of what we've achieved to build it. We built it with the money that came partly from the Premier League and partly from Oyston money. Oyston money before the football club. The football club and suggest to the parent companies were skint for 25 years, totally skint.
But with respect, Owen, that we've had, by conservative estimates, 80 million, and some would say more, come into the football club as a result of that elevation to the Premiership. Putting all that aside, we have a club that has an asset value of 40 million. But for the people around this room, where is the tangible legacy for the Premiership promotion? And I put it to you that there isn't any.
Because in point of fact, I think we're lower in the league than we were when you took the club over.
Let me just finish on that point. You say there isn't any. I say we built an amazing stadium which is fit for purpose, which is worth a lot of money. And that is the legacy. We're in a stronger financial position when we went to the Premier League the last time round. And that's important. We preserved the finances. We're strong in that sense. And so now we've got to try and get back there. No, but well, just a moment. We spent £48 million. £48 million. No, that's in the future. That's in the future.
let's move on.
No, just let me tell you, we've spent £48 million. You ask where the money went. £48 million on players' wages between the time. Well, you see, this is the problem. You don't look at the accounts. If you look at the accounts, you will see that we.
The late.
Can we remove that gentleman there?
Kevin, let's have a word. Moving forward, Pauline's touched on the issue of litigation, and what the question that's posed from the floor is: do you acknowledge that the major rift between yourself and your family and the vast majority of the people in this room and the wider Blackpool fans base is caused by the pursuit of supporters for damages through the civil courts? Now, I would like to add, and obviously I have a slight vested interest in this, that we're not talking about specifics. We're not talking about specifics. It's the principle, Owen. Do you recognise the damage that has done to our football club?
Yes,
and,
I do. Yeah,
I do. And what I would say is, on the basis of that what the people in this room want you to say, hopefully, is that this is going to stop. And we're looking for you to give an undertaking to the people in this room that all existing litigation and all threats of future litigation will stop, because we can never, ever move forward until it does.
That was a very good question to ask. And with hindsight, maybe we were wrong to take legal action. Just a moment. Can I finish?
Yeah, please let Owen finish, okay? Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Shall I take yours?
If you want.
Can you hear me? Do you want to hear me? The litigation started with one particular gentleman who posted on the social media the fact that our players had sexually transmitted diseases.
Owen, I don't think it's helpful to talk about the specifics.
This is a rough meeting, and you've got to hear why we took the action. I want you to know why we took the action.
What we want to know is, going forward...
No, let me speak. Let me finish.
Going forward, are you prepared to stop it?
No. You've
We're
got
not...
to let me answer the question. Well, let me answer the question first. Let me answer the question. I'll come back to that. Let me answer the question, please. So, they say that a lie races round the world twice before truth gets its boots on. And it's absolutely true, because this went viral. This particular post went viral. It was across the file, across the country, everywhere. Have you ever thought of the damage it did to those players? It was repeated by other individuals as well, who said it was true. Now, I'm just trying to explain how we got into suing a client. I felt that if we didn't take action, and let me speak, if we didn't take action against the man who was responsible for that, then it would open the door to a repeat and a repeat and a repeat. And what happened, in fact, those players never wanted to play for us again. They couldn't get away from the club quick enough. Worse than that, we couldn't attract players into the club because of what had happened.
None of the current litigation, Owen, is to do with that. The current threat of litigation relates to people who've encroached on the pitch on Judgment Day, which from their perspective was a legitimate protest, and it relates. There's an owner of a forum, and there's Mr. Smith and Andy Grice. They are the things we're talking about. I was very at points to say that it wasn't about the historic ones. I'm talking about claims going forward, because we can't move forward as the football club until it's sorted.
To your members how it came about in the first place.
Owen,
we know that.
With respect, we have limited time here to get through a lot of questions. The issue is, please will you be quiet? The issue is
on the basis of litigation, you will know by now that we've had no litigation in recent times. We have stopped litigating. So I've also, well, let me finish. I've also tried to use my influence to bring the existing actions to a close by negotiating a conclusion to them as quickly as possible. It's in everybody's interest for that to happen. The vast majority of people who came on the pitch will not be sued or litigated against, but we do have a problem here. The Football League...
What we're talking about, Owen...
Let me just tell you, the Football League, we're dealing specifically with your matter, and the FA, the Football League and the FA, are very upset. They fined us what came to a total of £100,000 because you went on the pitch. If anybody invades the pitch again and we don't take appropriate action, I'm going to tell you now, the fine will be massive. They'll take points off us. They'll take points off us.
You don't need to sue people, though. This lady's in receipt of a letter, by the way, as you can probably imagine. Christine Atkinson, she's one of the people, has already received a letter threatening to sue her for £50,000 for trespassing on the pitch. That's why she's upset.
The point, Owen, is this, that this is one thing that's dividing the fans from the club like nothing else ever has done. This is family that's hurting here for the action, the litigation action that's being taken. And if we really want to resolve these deep wounds, then an act from the owners to say we're going to cease all litigation and draw a line under it would be a significant step in that direction. And that's what we were asking for.
I'd like to
that's the undertaking we want. It's in your power, Owen, because I've spoken to you before and I've told you you can never ever move forward till you stop this.
I've already said that there's been no individuals sued, even though we've had the opportunity to do so. On several occasions, we've agreed not to do any more suing. And that's a fact, so we've resigned from that. We're now trying to settle the existing cases. We've got a problem with the FA and the league for the reasons I explained, so we're trying to resolve that. So we are trying to bring these actions to a close. And I'm applying my own...
In terms of the FA and the Football League, if you worked with the fans, I'm sure we could make sure we didn't have a repeat of pitch invasions if the things that we're looking to happen actually happen. Work with the fans. I've been asked if we could just have a short statement here by the young lady on my left.
Okay. So you've come here today for a public lynching. Nobody's letting you answer anything in the way you want to answer anything. You've got a large... Can I finish?
Can you be quiet, please, and let us speak? It's...
I've not done anything to you. With a large family and friends that love you and know how generous you are and that you're a decent person and what you've done for the club, why do you feel the need to be here in such a hostile environment?
So... From our perspective of Blackpool Supporters Trust, Owen is here because he generously agreed to come and meet the fans and address their concerns.
Well said. Well said. So I think the question that you were asked was why, and to be fair, I think it's a good question, is why, obviously, you're in a very, very hostile atmosphere here. Why do you feel that you need to be here and speak to us?
Because I love the passion of the fans. I love Blackpool Football Club. It's my life, and I want to get it back to where it was. I got it there in the first place. I claim the credit partly for that. Without the fans, we can't do it. I know that. The last time, we had an amazing ride. I remember the songs that were sung in the stands, the best ride we've ever been on. We got there. The following year, we almost got back because we spent heavily on players. We lost in the final against West Ham. We deserved to win that game. It was the worst day of my life in terms of football. It was a real depression because we deserved to win, and I think it knocked the stuffing out of our team. I think Ollie was depressed by it, and when he left, of course, our fortunes went backwards. So football, I mean, we've had 10, 14 years of very successful football. We get to the Premier League. We just miss out in staying in the Premier League. We nearly get back the following year. And then, of course, the conflicts begin. The one new thing, new element that I think has made this situation really fierce is because one of our shareholders, Valery Belicon, decided to attack us in the press. We didn't respond. Well, I'm going to deal with that. I'm the biggest.
Owen, the question.
Let me tell you about, because they've raised the point. Valery Belicon. Let me answer the question.
Listen,
please can we stop Owen finish?
Chris,
thank you.
Chris, you should know better, mate. Come on, we're trying to keep an elements of decorum in here, and all you're doing is heckling constantly. No, you're not. We're not. The questions come through here.
Well, I'm going to tell you. If you let me answer the question. There's nobody who's more of a fan than Valery Belicon, and I am. I brought him into the club. He signed a subscription agreement and paid £1.8 million on the 5th of June 2006. And then we talked and talked for years. And eventually he signed another agreement, which I negotiated with him, to build the South and Southwest stands in 2008, the 17th of July 2008. He and I burnt the midnight oil. We came up with an idea to invest 1.5 million of his money from the bank into the Football Trust, which bought Charlie Adam. The football club put up the money in terms of all the wages for the players and all the associated costs. When we got to the Premier League, we paid the 1.5 million back to Mr. Belicon and paid him also 1.68 million pounds of profit. So he was entirely happy. And he was instrumental, he was tremendous in getting us where we are. I've always showered him with praise for what he's done for the club. And he was an important part of that ingredient that got us to the Premier League. It required a special manager, it required amazing fans, it required Valery Belicon supporting us, it required my track record of making sure that the football club existed at the time. And all these things came together at the right time because we worked together as a team. We worked together in harmony, and it worked. Now, we've had two bad seasons. They've been horrific. And I've been, so depressed, just as you are. But how do we resolve it? You think, you see, if I walk away, somehow Valery Belicon or somebody else will walk in. Now, right. Let me disabuse you of that. In August 2013, if you want to listen to this, and I'll show it to your chairman or to Tim, the letter, Valery Bellicon wrote to Carl and I, and it's not a without prejudice letter, so I can talk about it, and offered to sell his investments in the club. This is in August 2013 for £24 million. If I'd accepted the offer, Valery Bellicon would be riding over the hill away from the club. He has no intention of coming in to run this club. He has no intention of buying this club. He's never made an offer. All he wants to do is extract large sums of money from it and disappear.
If we can move on. The next question, don't bear with...
This gentleman was quite amused by my reference to large sums of money being extracted. Let me just tell you one of the statements he made in the Gazette, which was totally untrue. And let me finish. This is really important that they know this. No, let me just finish, please. No, please let me finish the question. The 24 million, which happened to be the same figure exactly that he wants to take out of the club, which would leave the club without cash, and indeed would leave it in debt, was the same sum of money that he accused us of taking out of Blackpool Football Club into the Oyston Group of companies for our own personal use and without his permission. The facts are, it's in the accounts, 22.8 million of that money was spent on football club related assets, football club connections, interests and support, buying assets that would support the football club, which has always been our philosophy, to try and make the football club self-sufficient, to produce revenue from outside football, so it doesn't depend only on income from football. When we got into the Premier League, £13 million was loaned, and I orchestrated it, from Blackpool Football Club. That was the first 13,000 of the 24 he's talking about. That 13 million pounds was loaned to Segesta, the parent company. The parent company then invested that money in building the East Stand, the South East corner. Just a moment, let me finish. It also built the third phase of Valery Bellicon's joint venture with us. He and I together did a joint venture to build the South and Southwest corner. We put money in to fund his half of the joint venture, and we, of course, and Segesta was the partner. So he, at the time when he was saying we'd taken money out, he was the biggest benefactor of that £13 million. 6.6 million, directly and indirectly, went into his joint development with Segesta. He never told you that. He never told you anything about the money that we'd put into his development. Then he said across the Gazette, well, we've got to put the money back into Blackpool Football Club, where it belongs. How could we? It was
Owen, that development is owned by Segesta, not by Valery Bellicon.
I beg your pardon?
The South Stand development is owned by Segesta.
You're mistaken. The freehold is owned by Segesta.
Freehold is owned by Segesta.
That's the difference. The 1,000-year agreement we did with Valery Bellicon, I suggested 99 years. He eventually persuaded me to give him a 1,000-year deal. That is a joint venture where we share the net revenues after all the costs. Now, it was agreed that we would eventually fund the third phase of the joint venture, which was half owned by him in terms of revenue income, a 1,000-year lease, and he's resiled on that. He's not paying it back. And Blackpool Football Club should be paid that money back. So all the time he's been accusing us of misappropriating money, effectively. He's been the biggest benefactor of it and never said a word about it. And he wants to take the 24 million out of the club, leaving the club without cash and also in borrowing. So, I mean, I naturally said no to the deal. Why would I say yes?
Could we move on? We want to talk. Obviously, a lot of people in this room are members of BST, and one of the things that we find very difficult to accept and understand is why the club insist on exercising control over fan representation rather on the control of fan. why the club insists on exercising control over fan representation. We're talking here particularly about the FPG, rather than acknowledging the value and having dialogue. I appreciate we're doing it today, but up to now it hasn't happened. The value of independent fan representation. And so the question that I've been asked to put to you is, are you prepared to try and help move things forward, to disband the FPG and recognise BST as the true representatives of all BFC fans? So the question's a simple one.
I'll answer that. The answer is no. And the answer is no because I want to see all the fans represented at the meetings. All the fans represented at the meeting. And as you know, we have an offer to BST and all the other fans to come and join us. Just a moment. Sorry? Carl will accept it. He's already invited. He's invited BST, I can tell you factually, invited BST to come to meetings. And I'm saying today to the fans, the BST members, and to your chairman, Steve Rowlands, I'm saying today, take away from him any restrictions, any conditions about coming to meet us, because that's what's been the stumbling block. Listen, let me finish, and we will meet him. I'll continue meeting him. I've met him twice. We got on amazingly well. That's why I'm here. And I think we can make serious progress if you unfetter him and stop him being hidebound by conditions that we've got to get rid of another bunch of fans, like the FPG.
The FPG, Owen, just to bear with us, guys. The FPG are 5 fans. Look around the room. They are 5 fans. They don't represent anybody. 5 fans. You've got 500 probably in this room, and 4 times that many members.
Well, I've said
why do you need to use the FPG, disband them, recognise BST is the question. Are you prepared to do it?
No, I'm not, because I'm not prepared. No, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared to stab 5 fans in the back. They've come forward to give their support. They sat in the interviews with the manager. They sat in the interviews with the manager. They effectively picked the manager.
Quiet, please.
They effectively picked the manager. What I'm saying is, let's have all the fan groups represented. That's what I'm saying. That's the only way to go forward.
So
Why
then,
should there be a condition that one fan group should be excluded? It's crazy.
So then you need to constitute a proper fans parliament and disband the FPG as part of putting that together, and then all fans can be
One of the reasons
represented.
I want to carry on talking to Steve, and as I said, we've made good progress, is to unfetter Steve so you don't commit him to what he can and cannot do. And he and I think, can resolve these issues. It's by talking that we can resolve these issues.
Next question.
Yeah, next question. Carl. Owen, you say that you love BFC. Why have you allowed your son Carl to continually drag the good name and image of the club down through a chain of dreadful actions over a number of years? And the examples that the person who posed the question give, which has been touched on, I think, in the impact statements, is standing next to the cash cow sign, making disability slurs. The list is long and embarrassing, it's suggested. Why, as the owner of the football club, do you let that happen?
And Owen, just before you answer that, please could you clarify something you said earlier when you said that Carl was standing down as CEO? Does that mean he's standing down as chairman as well?
No. Can I answer the question?
Yeah, can we listen? If we're going to listen to the answers, we need people not to be shouting out. We've asked a question. We've asked the question, and I want to hear the answer. So the question is, why, as the owner of the football club, do you let Carl, it's not my question this though, it's come from the floor somewhere, to continually drag the good name and image of the club down?
Carl made a response to a fan out of order. I was his biggest critic. I told him he was stupid to respond, and that remains my position. So I was his biggest critic. He was fined heavily for it. He apologized for it. The reality is, the reality is, I mean, just listen for a moment about this, because if you were facing this, he had abusive phone calls threatening lives on his phone, day and night, week after week, day and night, week after week, and he broke and he made a mistake, and I was the one who criticized him. I can't hear what he's saying.
No, he can't hear. The issue.
The order, please. Come on, guys.
The point that's being made is that it's not an isolated incident, and it's about, and we've heard from the impact statements, it's about mutual respect. And when the chairman of the football club is driving around with an Oyston out number plate in his car and things of this nature at highly volatile times, we would suggest that's not the appropriate.
It's a nonsense, and he shouldn't do it, and he hasn't done it.
But Owen, the question was, why are you letting him do it? No, because you own the football club.
He doesn't. Well, talk about the Lion's Den is an understatement. Let me tell you, he doesn't do it now. He doesn't have any high profile. He doesn't go on the social media. He doesn't do it. So it's historic. What you're talking about is historic. I've come here today to get from you your thoughts, your ideas, to try and move forward in a positive way.
So Owen, I think you've heard the message there. The request from the fans is that remove Carl and a huge problem will have gone away.
As I said, just to pick up on Steve's point, we've spoken about the litigation, but if we're going to move forward, you've come here to find out what these people want.
But don't ask me to give undertakings. Who criticised Carl when we were in the Premiership? Who criticised him? Put your hands up. Why did you criticise him then? Why? Why? He was one of the ingredients, whether you like it or not, that got us to the Premier League.
Moving forward, Owen, when we talk about how you have probably 700, maybe 800 season ticket holders at the moment, that's unsustainable. The messages that are coming out on this particular issue is that there is a fundamental problem here. You are the owner of the football club, and you are the person who ultimately has the power to do something about it. Because these people are not going to come back through those turnstiles until some of these issues are dealt with. The status quo can't continue.
There's one thing for certain. After I've heard the heartfelt feelings, and the depth of feelings here today, if we don't resolve this issue, if we don't find a way forward, we'll be playing in non-league football in the near future.
Yes, and nobody wants that to happen. And as a businessman,
That's why I'm
surely you should recognise that Carl actually is a bit of a lost leader for you at the moment.
What Steve said was that nobody wants that to happen, and if we're going to move forward, you need to recognise where the issues are. He referred to Carl as a lost leader, and deal with the issue. If we don't deal with these issues, Owen, there is no way forward.
Do you not think if we make mistakes in the football club, and we've made many, I accept that. We've apologised for them, and we've also had great success. It has to be acknowledged as well.
But you by your own words, Owen, have recognised that unless the fans start coming back through the door, we're likely to go non-league. So
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said no.
I thought no. As I understood it, you said that if things don't change, we'll go non-league.
I mean, basically, what I'm saying is, if we carry on abusing the players and the manager, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We will go down. We've got to stop it. Now, if you want to hate Oyston, if you want to abuse Oyston, do so if you want. If you don't want to come and spend your money in the football club, don't spend it. But at least love the club, support the team, support the players.
Yeah, to be fair, Chris has made a good point. Chris, I can hear you. Yeah. So the question, Owen, and Chris, you've said it. The question is to the owner of the football club, bearing in mind what's been said about the litigation, what's been said about Carl, what's been said about investment, what are you going to do to persuade anybody in this room? Because you saw how many people put their hands up. I think there was a couple put their hands up to say they're going to renew. You've got to say, and not just say, but do things that are going to bring people back through the turnstiles.
Right, okay.
And you've been told what you've got to do from the people in here.
No.
So okay,
listen. So let
Owen answer that question.
It'll be unique if you let me answer one question, because I've come here in good faith. I could have walked out. I'm as passionate about the club as you are. I'll take the stick. I'll take the stick from you, but you've got to let me answer the questions. Last year we spent more money. We spent more money on the footballers than any other club in the league. What? Oh.
To be fair on the point, what we want to talk about is your proposals, your plans to turn around the current situation, because we're on a downward trajectory. We're going down, and there is a risk that we could find ourselves falling out of the leagues. What is going to happen? What is going to change to make the 500 people and the other 10,000 people who stop going to games walk back through those turnstiles? Because if you don't do anything, it isn't going to happen.
Well, right.
Will you let him answer rather than just heckle?
The only thing that's going to change things, and we all know this really in our hearts, is if we start winning on the pitch. So thanks for inviting me here.
It's not about the results.
Right, thank you.
That's what's upset. It's not. It's about. It's about the litigation.
I think it's quite.
You haven't. You're suing Jess Smith.
I think it's quite clear that results on the pitch aren't going to do what's needed, Owen, with the best will in the world. Okay, it's got to be a radical change at Blackpool Football Club.
The next question. The next question. Given the near collapse of support, you can see the feelings in the room, emotions running high. Given the near collapse of support for you and your family as custodians of BFC, as evidenced by the protests, the demonstrations, the petitions, the Not a Penny More movement and the ethical boycott campaigns, under what precise circumstances and with what conditions would you be prepared to relinquish control and ownership of BFC? So the question is, under what circumstances and on what conditions would you be prepared to sell?
There is no buyer. There is no buyer. Well, that's more than the last time. That's more than the last time, Yorkland. Well, you know, thank you for all this amazing experience.
That's a symbolic pound for people at the back who can't see.
It's difficult with emotions running high. I think Christine's made the point previously. She doesn't know anyone wants to buy a house unless she puts it on the market. So the question that was being asked.
The question is, I don't want to sell the club. I don't intend to sell the club.
Will you listen to the answers as well, please? Because Owen is actually answering. So if you can listen to what he's got to say.
I've just said the club isn't for sale. No one has come along to make an offer. Least of all, Mr. Bellicon. So at the moment, we have each other. We are where we are. We've got to try and find an answer.
Yeah, the point, the difficulty we've got, Owen, is that and to be fair, you've answered the questions appropriately.
Fine, yeah, fine.
I mean, I don't think we can. What we're hearing is the litigation. The litigation isn't going to stop. Carl remains in role, and you're not prepared to sell the club. The practical implications of that are going to be what you're hearing in this room.
Well, that's just your prerogative. I can't force you to come. If you want to stay away, it's your prerogative to do it. I have just told you how we're trying to move forwards. We're trying to move forward. It's your prerogative. Well, it's your prerogative. Well, I'm trying to do something. I've explained to you where we are at the moment. I've come here to listen to you. I've come here to try and take away your thoughts, any positive ideas, constructive ideas.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
Owen's prepared to take a few questions from the floor, which Andy's going to deal with. What we would ask is that if anyone wants to ask a question, that they come forward and take the mic. But we're obviously going to have to limit this time-wise. So and we don't want inappropriate questions, please. Otherwise, it'll be the last one, and we'll have to finish. So we want appropriate questions and nothing abusive, and equally. We've got to give Owen the chance to answer.
I've been listening all the way through, and I think what I take from what you've been saying today is that
he can't hear you.
There are a number of things that you've raised today that are very, very significant. The Oyston family have started litigation against a lot of you, and they've sent letters offering to settle out of court for exorbitant sums of money that none of you can afford. And if they were to lay those down and to stop persecuting ordinary people for raising a protest, I think that would be a way forward. No, if you can't hear me. I think that you have enough representation in this room from over 2,000 members. Yeah, sorry. I think that there's enough representation in this room of over 2,000 members for you to say you need to talk to this group of people. This group of people are very, very important. They are the heart and soul of Blackpool Football Club. Okay? The other thing that I think has been clear from what's been said in this room today is that Carl is not appropriate to do anything for this club. So you need a new CEO, Owen. If you can't run it yourself, you need somebody that can, and you need somebody that is interested in football.
I'm prepared to take anybody who would like to ask a question. This gentleman here, would you come forward though, please? And it's helpful if you actually face towards Owen so he can actually see what you're saying, rather than face the audience. You might want to use this one.
The question I ask Owen, if he went to a restaurant for 30 years and then after 27 years the food was rubbish and he was abused by the head waiter and taken the mickey out of, would you still go? And that's how all we feel today.
I think it was more of a statement that than a question. Ashley?
The mic's back on now.
Yeah. He's coming forward. We will.
It's okay. I'll carry on as long as you like.
Yeah, to be fair, they're asking, would you still go to the restaurant if they abused you and disrespected you?
It's hardly a comparison with the football club. No, I'll tell you why. The reason it's hardly a comparison is because I don't love the restaurants. You don't love the restaurants. Of course you won't go if the food is bad. If your food is bad once or twice, you won't go.
Thank you. I think, to be fair, that answers the question.
In our souls, or should be.
Ashley okay. Here.
Owen, I'd like to speak to you as a businessman to a businessman.
Can you come closer, please?
Yep. Yeah, sure. And I want to tell you about my business. My business loses customers.
Sorry,
and we're monitoring our...
because it's muffled. It's very muffled.
It is very muffled, to be fair.
Thank you.
Owen, I want to speak to you as a businessman to a businessman.
Yeah.
I'm a sales director of a company, and we're forever monitoring our customers to see if they're happy or unhappy. If they're unhappy, we want to do things. We're quite a successful business, and we tend to retain our customers, and when we do lose customers, we make every effort to try and find new ones. Blackpool Football Club, in season ticket count, over the last 5 years, has lost 85% of its customer base. As a businessman, under the stewardship of your son Carl, do you think that's acceptable?
The answer is no. We want to change it. No, we want to change it. We want the fans to come back. I'm here to try and find an answer and to the issues. Good to see you. Nice to see you.
Looking around.
Try and come and face Owen, because it's very difficult when you face it away from him to actually.
Is it working? Are we on? Looking around the audience, I have to be one of the oldest persons here. I'm not proud of that. Owen beats me by about 10 years, I'm guessing. Seriously, and If anybody speaks, I'll come round and belt with the bloody microphone. This is a serious summary. I've been going since I was 5. Fact 1. I'm 73. I'm not going again. I'm not going because of, not you. I used to stand with you under the West Stand when you were being prosecuted for rape. Shut up, I said. I'm serious. I was on your side. What the judge and jury did, nothing to do with me. You have gone downhill since then. I appreciate that. You lost a lot of money. You've taken a lot of money back out of the club. Because the 100 million you lost then,
no,
please be quiet. Please be quiet till I finish.
Sorry, you're right.
Please be quiet. I supported you through thick and thin. I tell the middle generation here, and they don't like it, you saved the club. You did save the club. They don't like it, but you did. And without you, there'll be no Blackpool Football Club. Since then, you belting for me then. Since then, it's gone downhill. We had a glitch, a lucky glitch when we got into the Premiership. That was a glitch. Seriously, it was a glitch. And unfortunately, it didn't happen the year after. Had you invested money in 1 or 2 players, we could have stayed up. We're now on the snake. We're not on the ladder. We're going downhill. From today, I think there's been 5 simple points that you're going to have to take away. Stop the litigation. I'm the father of one of the first ones. It's his own bloody stupid fault, and I know he's listening to it now on the live commentary. He got his facts wrong. He didn't do what the wallpaper hanger does. Measure twice, cut once.
Sorry?
Steve's dad. We won't put his name, not his website name anyway, but a lot of people know me and him. Stop the litigation against all the other lot. I'm very good friends with 2 or 3 people over there that have been thrown out today. You're prosecuting people unnecessary. Sorry, Carl is. I believe there's 1 case pending. You had agreed it. Carl came along and said, up you. Get rid of Carl. That's the simple answer. I was going to ask you a simple question. Do you have nightmares?
Sorry?
Do you have nightmares?
I have nightmares about the present situation of Blackpool.
We have nightmares. I think it was when Carl was born. Funnily enough, he's the same age. Funnily enough, he's the same age as the person I'm talking about, because Vicky and my wife were not in bed together, but were side by side in Lytham Hospital.
Really? Gosh.
And you were walking down the corridor with me. So that's another connection we have. You should have put him down at birth. I apologise. That was a flippant comment, and it wasn't. I'm not disrespecting. That was a. Sorry. Get rid of Carl. You can stay. You can stay with your dedication. We were in the pub in Huddersfield when they opened the new pub. You walked in, colleague of mine over there. How are you doing, lads? Do you want a pint? That is your attitude, and always has been. The club is at heart. You have the club at heart, but Carl doesn't. Never had. He said it on record. Never had. He's told us where we're going. Conference football. It's on file. I have it on record on my texts. He said it, Owen, and that's where we're going. He's going to keep his promise if you keep him there. Results on the pitch are not prime. Not prime. Then sell the club. I had five. The last one is join BST.
to make this the last one? Sorry, do you want me to make this the last one? Yeah. We're going to make this the last question.
Okay. It's not as much a question as a statement, but what I'd like to say is one thing we can all agree on is that our club is broken. Now, I don't believe it's broken beyond repair.
Sorry,
I believe...
It's very muffled. I can't hear
Sorry.
very well, Christine.
I believe that our club is broken, and I think we all agree that it is broken. Most of us believe that that is the fault of you and your family. You probably don't agree with us. But the fact is that is the perception. And the only way we can move our club forward is if we are united. We need everybody on the same side pushing the same way. I cannot see any way that our club can move forward while there are any Oystons hanging to the wreckage. I'm sorry, but we have to speak. We have to deal with life how it is, and this is the point we've got to. Particularly when you started the litigation, I'm afraid that was a massive own goal. You crossed a line there, and I believe it is now too late for you as an individual and your family to go backwards. The gentleman before me, who's obviously known you for a while, he says that you do have the club at heart. If you do, Mr. Oyston, then let me appeal to you. You now have this marvellous opportunity to do something brilliant, and that is put the club up for sale or even revisit the proposal that BST made last year. How about giving the club to the fans? I know you're smiling and you think probably think I'm incredibly naive, but I'm not. This club is going downhill rapidly, and I'm afraid that the vast majority of fans will not come back while you and your family are still there. So what to do? You can save it. So if you care and you say you do, then do something. Please put this club up for sale. There are buyers out there. There are. So do it. Do it today.
Which is the better one? I think we'll probably okay with that one. Yeah, I'm impressed with the passion that you have for the club and its welfare. I would like to take away all your thoughts, and I will take them away. And it's been a harrowing experience to come here and face this kind of barrage of passion, the passion. But it proves to me that you care about the club. That's really, really important. And that's what I share with you. So I find it very hard to criticize the fans, even the ones who, as you say, we've crossed the line. If you knew some of the things that had gone on in the past, then if your wife or daughter or child had been
Please be quiet. Let Owen finish. Thank you.
You might have seen it differently if you know you'd been the subject to the massive abuse, the death threats and the attacks. All I'm saying, I understand your passion. I want to try and accommodate your needs as far as I can. I've got to, at the end of the day, to believe in what I believe in. I believe that economically the club is still sound. We can get back up again. We need, I'm going to make one final appeal to unfetter Stephen Rowlands, your chairman. Allow him to continue talking to me about the future, because then we can, without the pressure, without the aggression, and without the harsh feelings that you have, we can perhaps try and find a way forward together. No, I
Please.
if you can just take your minds back for a moment, you know, the moments of glory, where, just a moment, where we got into the Premier League. Just ask yourselves, there's one thought I'm asking you to consider. Consider how we got to the Premier League the last time, how we got there. We got there by the 12th man, you, supporting the club passionately. We got there by having the right manager, the right ingredients, and I believe we can do it again.
Okay, I think we need to draw it to a conclusion there, this part of the agenda. Apart from anything else, we still have a few items to get through, but I would just like to say thank you very much to Owen for coming here today. It's been very difficult. Will you shut up, please? Come on. We're going to allow one last voice from the floor. Please, will you be quiet? Thanks.
Hi, Mr. Oyston.
Hello.
I'm a war pensioner, and you'll find that I'm very nervous today speaking. Like Ray, I'm an ex-veteran. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, I would love to run around the streets, commit harry-carry with a big carving knife naked and get all my stresses out. Instead, I used to go to Bloomfield Road every Saturday. That allowed me to gob at 11 blokes. They couldn't gob back at me, and it was a stress reliever, especially for me with my PTSD. I'm one of the few people that stuck their hand up, sitting on the fence whether to renew or not. One of the things that's put me off is the price, because it is still quite expensive as a disabled veteran, but also because of the animosity that's going on in the crowd. Now I am going to miss my Saturdays at Bloomfield Road watching the game because of everything that's going on. Yeah. And I don't know where I'm going to end up with my PTSD because I can't go there and get rid of my stresses because of everything that's happening. And it shouldn't be happening. We should be able to go to the football games and enjoy ourselves and watch our team. And at the moment we can't.
Really, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Owen, I'd just like to say on behalf of everybody, thank you for having the guts to come here today. Clearly there's still some way to go before we can sort this out. I was going to ask you what ideas you might have for a step forward, but maybe this isn't the right time to ask that question.
I think if we're going to... If we're going to make any progress, I think my suggestion would be that you and I carry on meeting as we have done. I think we made some progress. As I said, I was persuaded by you to come here and face the music, which I've done. So come without condition, come without any preconditions, without being fettered anyway, so that we can talk freely and just see if we can make some ground, find some solutions.
Well, that'll be down to the members, because we're a democratic organisation and I have a mandate to act as they say. So if they don't approve that, it won't happen. But you know, we will all reflect on what's happened today, and I repeat again, thank you for coming here. It's much appreciated. I know you feel passionately about the club. I just wish that sometimes that passion could be more directed to changing the things that we want for the better. But that's a discussion for another day, I think. Can I just ask you all, please, to give a quick round of applause to Owen for coming here today. Okay, we're about 10 minutes behind where we should be, but we do have an agenda to finish.